It's Tuesday, November 10th. You got Goose, and you're entering into the core, brought to you by Flux, your gateway to a decentralized world. For more information about Flux, check out our website, zel.network. Guys, I'm really happy to be here and welcome Reuben, the co-founder of ZCoin, to the core. So we're going to have a little talk about their upcoming rebrand to a new name called Firo. And then we're also going to talk a little bit about some of the things that they've been doing with us, namely monitoring their nodes through Zelcore. So without further ado, let's get into this interview. Reuben, what's going on?
Hey Goose, great. It's early morning, and thanks for doing this at night. It's a real pleasure, and Zel has been working really closely with Firo or ZCoin at the moment, and really excited to introduce both Zel to our community, and also like the Zelcore wallet that has MasterNode integration, and also introduce Firo to your Zel community. I think we've been on with you guys before, but it'll be always great to reintroduce as well. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, it's always great to have contact with the other communities that we support, that are supporting us, and I'm really excited to go through all the different features that we've already incorporated into the Zelcore wallet, like the full node for ZCoin and then the monitoring app and stuff like that. It's pretty extensive. But before we even get to that point, I mean, just by way of like a refresher, maybe could you tell us a little bit about like your relationship with ZCoin? How you're one of the co-founders, right? So how did that get started, and what are some of the unique characteristics of the project?
Right. So, I mean, we have been around since September 2016. We launched a ZCoin, and only in maybe in a couple of days' time, we'll be switching to a new name called Firo. And the basic idea of Firo or ZCoin is, I'll just continue using the word Firo for now, but is that we want to offer basically world-class privacy without taking unnecessary risks. So we use our own type of zero knowledge proofs, no trusted setup, no fancy moon math stuff that just works, and we're also moving into like a privacy by default type of model. So how I came about ZCoin then was basically, I was a lawyer for 10 years prior to joining the space. And actually, like, I've been in the space since around like early 2013. And I ran a VPN service, so like privacy wasn't a stranger to me, and I was particularly interested in privacy coins. Back then there was only Darkcoin and Monero. I mean, these were the two main ones, and now Darkcoin has rebranded to Dash and kind of like put privacy on the wayside. So when the zero coin protocol came about, it was a totally new model. It was not about mixing with other people. It was about destroying coins and then redeeming them for brand new ones, like virgin coins, with no previous associated history. So that was like a totally new mechanism and had certain advantages because, well, your anonymity set isn't just limited to the people you're mixing with, but with basically everyone who did the burn before. So that's potentially a much larger anonymity set. I came on, actually it's more of like, I wasn't like an original co-founder. I actually joined in as a community manager, which was, I just wanted to get my feet wet into this like really cool project. I was, I guess, the first employee. And that kind of like over the years, I kind of like took on a more role, and currently I'm like the project steward, which I guess is kind of like a project lead, but the way I see my position as kind of like a caretaker of the project until, like the community is gone to sufficient size that, it can manage itself. But that's something that I think all decentralized networks hope to achieve, but it's pretty difficult to do that. So I'm just like the janitor for the moment, right?
It might feel like that sometimes, but without somebody who's kind of Somebody has to fill the bucket with water. Somebody has to, get people motivated and get people working, So, I mean, that's a good spot to be in.
Yeah. It's quite can be quite harrowing, but also can be very rewarding at the same time. And after doing this for quite a while, it's definitely I definitely have what started out as like, oh yeah, this is interesting. Now I'm like, damn, I really think, especially with the rise of central bank digital currencies, even like the Chinese DCEP and all this stuff like Libra or like JP Morgan coin and PayPal coin. It makes me more think like, wow, we really need like what cryptocurrency was supposed to be about, right? Which was about, above control, above surveillance, and all this sort of stuff. And just really reinforces my view that, whatever it is really important what we're building here. And yeah, I mean, like with Zell, you guys also have privacy features as well. Maybe you want to, do the mirror explanation
I can.
for those over. Yes.
Oh yeah, for sure. Thank you for that. Yeah, I mean, I like the fact that Firo is privacy by default, and that's something that's very unique in the space. There's only a handful of cryptos that really focus on privacy by default. And then the way Zell has approached it is very similar to Zcash in the sense that we have two different types of wallet addresses. There's transparent addresses, which allow for transactions that would be visible on the blockchain. And this is particularly important for us because the way we run our Zell nodes. So the node infrastructure is a transparent thing. And we want that to be, we want to know who's, not necessarily who's running what, but it's just this idea that stakers and supporters of the network would be on a transparent address. But then beyond that, if somebody wanted to have the option for privacy in their transactions, we do have the option. You would just use a Z address, and we've got the same technology as Zcash, which is the sapling, which uses ZK snarks protocols, and it's a completely end-to-end encrypted IP, everything, all obfuscated on the blockchain, but verified using that zero knowledge proof. So I think it's a really cool feature to have. And as far as I know, that there's some development coming that's going to give that feature a little bit more prominence, especially in our Zelcore wallet. So hopefully in the coming months, we're going to see that as a little bit something that's easier to use for sure. Because right now everything is a transparent address in the Zelcore wallet, with the exception of Firo, Monero, and maybe a handful of other coins that are privacy.
Well, just to clarify, like currently, the way that Firo works is that it's privacy on by default if you use our wallets, but it's still opt out. You can opt out of privacy. So there's still two layers if you choose to use. And I think you guys are probably having the same issues where if you have incentivized node infrastructure, you have certain collateral lock that you kind of have to prove that yes, that collateral is there. And when you turn on all the privacy, that becomes quite hard to prove. Well, it's not impossible, but there's a lot of hoops to jump over. So we're still also working on that. And maybe our devs can probably share some ideas on how we plan to achieve that. That'll be pretty interesting, I think.
Yeah. I would be all for that. I mean, I'm sure that, depending on what the complication is, there's got to be some solutions that are that will be advantageous to both projects. One thing that I would note about the whole private versus transparent address is, and I use this example all the time, when you have a mailing address, that's a public address. So if I want somebody to send me mail, or for instance, even an email address, it's a public address. If I want somebody to send me email, they got to send it to Goose. If I wanted to do a private transaction, so if I use my house address, somebody could come to my house. That wouldn't be private, but I would still have the option of once somebody entered into the house, giving them whatever and nobody would know because the door is closed, right? That's like using a
Right.
sapling address. That's the way I look at it. Like you have a public side, and there's a purpose for using the public side. So staking and proving collateral and stuff like
Or
this.
donations. Yeah.
Donations, yeah. Foundation. So if we we're raising money for a particular aspect of development, and yeah, I mean you need transparency. So I think it's a brilliant way to show that transparency, but at the same time, for people who do want to exercise privacy for certain transactions, they have the option. And some of those features that were carried over from possibly not just Zcash, but also I believe Zen Horizon was the messaging, and messaging has worked its way deeply into our Flux network. So the nodes all communicate with each other on that message layer, which is pretty cool. So they talk to each other to make sure that the applications that are running, if an application goes down, for instance, it knows, okay, we have to spawn another one elsewhere because that node is down. So there's redundancy in the applications that are running, and it keeps them going. There's a lot more communication that's going on the Flux network, but nevertheless, that's very cool. So Firo, why Firo? What's the history of that name, huh?
So I mean, like, I guess there's like certain reasoning behind it. I mean, first of all, the if we were choosing a brand new name from start, right? If you have something like coin at the back, unfortunately, like unless you're Bitcoin, maybe Litecoin, like it actually kind of reduces legitimacy, right? People are like, I'm sending you some coins, and it seems like it's just play money, right? Like if you take a look at real currencies, like like lira or like euro or dollar and stuff like that, there's no like a dollar coin or whatnot, right? We are aiming to be like real currency, right? Or basically real currency. And if you want to play like a real currency, you got to have a name that matches real currency. And Firo is, well, first of all, very easy to say. I think almost anyone in this world, no matter where you're from, can pronounce Firo, right? And it's 4 letters. It sounds like money. We have a cool domain to go with it. And the basic idea was, with the whole rate and, like fire, Firo, it also ties into our burn and redeem mechanism, where we burn coins and then redeem them for brand new ones. So there's a lot of considerations, but of course, with the new Firo name, we're not going to get confused with Zcash and stuff like that. I mean, I guess you guys, being Zelle, although there's not like so much emphasis on the Z, I bet many guys said, "Oh yeah, you're a Zcash fault." Like there's no other innovation on top of it when you guys have built like so many other stuff on top of it, right? And I think that for us, we've come out with like really cool tech, like stuff that really moves the entire space. I mean, like even Monero's like using a lot of our ideas in their upcoming protocol Triptych and Arcturus. So yet people to today, first impressions matter, and people still look at them like must be a Zcash fork. And we felt that with the launch of the Lelantus privacy protocol, which is like such a huge milestone for us, the end of the founders rewards, a whole like restructuring of the project. I think this was like a great time to do the rebrand. And if you take a look at the logo, it's like an F, but then it's also like this thing and cutting, and which is like breaking the links between transactions, which is also what our privacy protocol does. So yeah, that's kind of it in a nutshell.
Well, I think it's very well thought out, for sure, and the logo definitely communicates exactly what it is that you're trying to say, especially when you keep in mind this idea of burn and remint. I really like that, and how that's the privacy mechanism. So rather than worrying about obfuscating IP addresses, I suppose that is part of the protocol, though, right? To obfuscate
Yes,
IP.
we have. We're using we were actually the first project to launch Dandelion Plus Plus on mainnet. Like we took it from the Bitcoin improvement proposal and then adapted it for our use. But we were the first ones to launch it on mainnet in 2018, even before Grin or like Beam or any of the other projects they did it. So how that works is that you don't have to connect to Tor or anything like that. It just works by default. And how it does it is just by basically, before propagating your transactions, like with any type of cryptocurrency right now, the way they propagate transactions, like tell all my neighbors, and it's like that propagates kind of like a ripple in the water, right? You drop a rock into like a calm pond and you can see the ripples coming up. And the problem with that is that, well, just that looking at the ripples, I can kind of guess where the origin is from, because that you can see the propagation of the stuff. So the idea of Dandelion was to actually randomly like throw a dice and to bounce it off other nodes in stealth. That means, like, instead of telling everyone, I only tell one other person, and that person will then roll a dice. Am I going to tell everyone or one other person? So it adds a lot of randomness as to where the true origin is. And once there's a 10% chance of telling everyone else, and once that last one kind of looms, what they call it, the fluffing, right? It starts gossiping to everyone. All the other ones previously that were in stealth mode would also start broadcasting at the same time. So it becomes quite hard to kind of tell the origin, even if you're not using Tor or something like that. So that's quite cool. Yeah.
I think the image that I'm getting is, when dandelions have gone past their prime, and then they have the little seeds, and you pick one up and blow the dandelion, and all the seeds go flying everywhere. You don't know where they're going to land, and you can't really tell where they came from. So that's my analogy. I think that's basically what you're.
It's the origin analogy, because the when it's going through the stealth phase, it's called the stem phase, and when it's going through like flying around, that's the fluff phase. So yeah, that's why it's called dandelion.
I like it. Very cool. So it's got some ZK zero knowledge proofs as part of it. So there is something that's kind of related to, but it's not a Zcash fork. It is its own animal.
Own cryptography, totally different structure, totally different math behind it. Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, so that's really cool. Well, congratulations on getting to this point. I mean, we're talking 4 years roughly, and a massive overhaul with Lelantus. So congratulations on that. Now, the other thing that we came to talk about was the integration of the wallet, or in this case, the full node, and then the node monitoring, all done within the Zelcore wallet. So this is kind of like touching upon a little bit of a partnership between the Zel ecosystem and Firo. So what I thought we could do is maybe take a look at the Zelcore wallet and some of the features that you have with the Firo wallet.
Sure, we were really excited to, basically have another quality wallet in our stable, and excited to show it to the community, because, like, they can't be, especially like you guys are a multi-asset wallet. So yeah, bring it up and let's go through it.
Okay, so here we are. This is the Zelcore wallet. Once you first open it up, and you can pick whatever assets you want to show here. On the portfolio tab, you would simply click this little plus sign and add asset, and then you can see over 200 different assets here. We have a lot of ERC20 tokens. We've got some of these gift card tokens. We have Binance Chain, Neo Chain, Tron Network, Ontology Network. Got the Omni layer here for Tether. And then, of course, we have, and I've already added it here, but ZCoin, soon to be Firo. And this is the view that you would get if you have the premium version of Zelcore, which is called Zelcore Plus. And this would give you a nice chart so you can follow the price. Got a little pump going on here. Nice job. But then also latest news, depending on our servers right now, it also depends on my VPN connection. But there are news features here that will come up. So we'll connect to your Medium, we'll connect to your Reddit or your Bitcoin talk, and those kind of articles will show up here. Also, if I had any previous transactions, my transaction history would show up here. So that's that. But the cool feature here is that if you want to run a node, then all you got to do is click on the three dots here and then click the full node. And what this will do is it'll launch a full node wallet, download the whole blockchain. And right now it's pulling down the daemon here, the ZCoin daemon, and then also the command line version of the wallet. Our front end will take over. So this is my first time opening it on this wallet, so I'll go ahead and allow the firewall here. But first time opening it, you're going to need to leave it open for a period of time so it can sync with the blockchain, so that may take a while. But once it's 100% synced, then you can start to use it to create a Z node or Firo node. I don't want to, I'm going to, right now it says ZCoin.
Just call it MasterNode.
Yeah, as soon as it's launched, as soon as the rebrand is done, all of these logos will change. We have already got the artwork done. So nice. It's just when you say the word, we will make it happen. But for right now, this is where we're at. And you can see right here, it's syncing. We got 0.77%. Yeah, so we gotta leave. But nevertheless, it's actually really easy to create a node here, a MasterNode. So obviously there's one side where you would need a VPS and you would run the software on the VPS. To control that particular MasterNode, all you would do is set it up through your Zelcore wallet by clicking this little wizard icon. And then that allows you to back up your addresses. So we tell everybody, back up all your addresses. It's always a good thing. This way, if something goes wrong, you'll be able to access your crypto on that address. I'm going to skip it for now. But this is going to go through the whole setup here, what you need in your config file. Go ahead and click on continue. Now, basically what it's looking for right now is a transaction output of exactly 1,000 ZCoin. So if I had that in this wallet, it would show up right here and it would say you have if you had like 3 different wallet addresses with 1,000 coins staked on them, then it would show you 3 addresses right here. And would it ask you which address do you want to install as a node? So you just click that one, and then it'll take you through the rest of the process step by step. It's very straightforward, and it's really like 4 or 5 clicks to sync your full node wallet here in Zelcore to your MasterNode. Wherever you have that, it'll ask you what's the IP for your VPS and take you through those steps. So very straightforward. That's the full node wallet, which is pretty cool.
What's the fingerprinting?
Fingerprint here is Zel ID. So we use this predominantly for signing messages using an ID that's unique to your login. So if I click this, it shows you my Zel ID right here. So this is essentially a Bitcoin address. And then what I can do is plug in a message. And if I wanted to verify that I was talking to you with your Zelcore wallet, I could sign a message. You could get the output, and it would verify that we're good. I think about it in terms of like right now we're using it to log into our Zel nodes, but it's going to be even bigger than that. I would imagine you could probably incorporate it in some way so that you can sign into a certain front end if you have one eventually on the secure nodes, because that might be something to consider. But it's just one extra way of verifying identity. And essentially this is a carryover from the Zel node wallet, because we use the same setup. We use the same exact setup for our node network. So
you guys are also using deterministic MasterNodes as well?
Yes.
Great.
Yeah. So if I go back, there is an option to leave this running. So if you wanted to continue to download the blockchain in the background, you could do that, but we'll exit it for now. And let's say we set up a node already. Then all I have to do is go to the apps section here, and we have an app just for Firo or the Z nodes. And what this app is going to do is pull up a map of, it takes a little while because there's a lot of nodes, but it'll pull up the world map of all of the different nodes, and you can click on them to see where they are or which country they're in or which ISP is hosting that particular node, which is pretty cool. And then also
this is a premium feature, right? Like
yeah,
it's part of the Zel Plus, right?
Zelcore Plus, exactly. Yeah, and I'll show how easy it is to get involved with Zelcore Plus. It's and right now, because of the value of the coin, it's actually very reasonable to get started with it. But as you can see, look at this: 5,376 nodes as of that last scan, and you can see where they're concentrated here. But it's a really nice spread throughout the globe here, which is cool. But we have already added a couple of nodes here to monitor down at the bottom. So you can see how you can track the status of your own node here. And it's really easy to add a node. First of all, if it's your own node, then it should automatically import into this application after you've set it up in the full node wallet. So you really wouldn't have to do anything. It would just show up here. If it didn't, then you could just click the Add New Node button here at the top and then simply add an IP address, and then it would show up down here as these do. And then maybe you can explain a little bit about the status here.
Yeah, so I mean, basically, there's only two main status, and one's enabled, and the other one is like, let's say if your node fell offline for too long, or if it's not responding, or it's on the wrong chain, it will have like a POSE ban, which is like proof of service ban, and once you clear it off, you restart the node, that status would revert to enabled. So this is great if like, you're like, oh yeah, something's wrong with my node, and you know that something needs to be done there. And by the way, these IPs were just randomly taken from the network. They don't belong to Goose or myself. So yeah.
Yeah. But this one is to show you that it is enabled. You can also take a look at the address. I guess this is your public.
Yep, it's all public. Yeah,
it's all public. So there's that. As it would be for us too on a Zel node, it would be a transparent address. So, but that's that. And then it also gives you the numbers here, so you can see how much reward came in for that node over a period of time. So the 31-day, 7-day, and 24-hour. And last but not least, and this is probably one of the more important features, why people like this so much, notifications. So notice this just popped up. Znode's not confirmed. It's telling me that this particular node at that IP address is not on. That's why it says right here, pose banned. So these will pop up as soon as you open your Zelcore wallet and let you know that if there's a problem, you could see it. Or what you can do is just minimize your wallet to the system tray. If you're using Windows, it's real easy. And then those types of notifications would come through at any time, which is kind of cool. So this way you could really keep on top of it. Oh, and one last thing that's probably even more important for people who are using mobile phone, right? You can simply sync your Zelcore wallet. All you have to do, like to access the same wallet in mobile phone, is to use the same username and password. It's really basic. So if you used like for me, if I used Goose123, then if I use Goose123 on my mobile phone, I will get into the same exact account. It's case sensitive, so that's important to note. But once you have that account registered on your mobile device, then all you have to do is click this Add to Mobile, scan the QR with your phone. It will add your node list into the phone. That'll be stored locally on both the desktop and the phone, but now you'll be able to more easily keep track of it wherever you are, which is really cool.
That is really cool. Can we play around with the filter, with the ISPs? I think that's quite cool to see like how many different ISPs. These are all basically all the ISP that the nodes are on, right?
Yeah, there's a lot. And they're all alphabetical, so it's easy to find them. So if like we wanted to find only the ones that are on Hetzner or something like that, you could do that. Let's see. Do they have some on Hetzner? Yep.
Wow, oh yeah, it is.
This is a pretty
cool,
pretty popular one. So if you click that, there's only
one.
There's 16.
Uh-huh.
The total is 16.
Oh, you're right.
But I think you have to. It might be difficult to look at each individual.
I think they're all in the same location, probably.
Yeah, I think it's the same IP block, so it's hard to get. But it's in Helsinki.
That's cool.
You can see that, and it's easier to zoom in without all of the added. So, for instance, if you were in one location, if you were in just certain areas of the world, let's see what we can find. I saw some from Beijing, I think. Yeah. So, like, if there was something in Beijing, then this just makes it easier for you to stay on top of your particular nodes. So
that is really cool.
Yeah.
It's the first time I actually got to see like a visual representation of all the nodes in the world. So this is a cool feature as well.
It's a great. It has a high impact.
Yeah. Do you want to talk a bit about like the Zelcore Plus subscription model and how that works? I think recently we ran a campaign giving out some of the vouchers online. But for those of you who missed it out, maybe you could run people through it.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So originally, when we first launched Zelcore, everything had a free version, and just so people can see what that might be like, it's pretty simple. We'll just put this on simple mode, and then if I go back to the wallet, you'll see it's a much simpler wallet. We don't have the chart, we don't have the news features. All you have is send, receive, and the transaction history. So it's a very basic look. Now, a lot of people like the simple look. I don't mind looking at it this way, but I found that if I'm following certain coins, I really like the news feature. So that's just one little thing that you get when you sign up with this. But the other thing is, and I'll go over here to the apps and then the Zelcore. The majority of all of the features in Zelcore are free. You can use the wallet. You don't have to pay for anything. If you like the extra perks, then it's $4 a month for Zelcore Plus. But we also have like different. There are different packages. Like if you pay yearly, you can save 20% for the whole year. So that's a good deal. The other thing is to support the Zel ecosystem. If you were to hold 5,000 Zel, you could put it in any wallet in Zelcore. There's 3 wallets that come by default, but you would get more if you staked 5,000 Zel. So all you have to do is put 5,000 Zel in the wallet, and then you would automatically have access to all the premium features. So there's more than just that, right? So if we look at this on the exchanges, there's Binance, Kraken, and Bittrex are disabled by default. So the only exchanges you would have are the quick swaps and then Stex, Gemini, KuCoin, and Binance DEX. But you would then have access to these, which are much more serious exchanges. And when you use one of these exchanges, for instance, you would use the API key from the back end of your exchange account. I'm just going to use it as a spectator so I can show off the UI. But what's nice about this is you got trading view. It's a very simple interface. You can set. I got it set to. Nice. Yeah, it's Litecoin, Bitcoin right now, but you can go over to portfolio, and this portfolio here is the coins you have stored on Binance. Or if you were in Kraken, it would be the coins in your Kraken wallet or the coins in your Bittrex wallet. So that portfolio is on the exchange. And then you can go ahead and do quick swaps here. Setting.
How do you change it to, let's say, like ZCoin, right? Because we're on Binance. So how does that work?
We just go here, right? Go to the market. And
XZC?
Oh, this is the BTC market. I'm sorry. I would just go down here. There it is. XZC.
Right.
There we go.
Cool.
So you could trade really nice. ZCoin right in here. That's a great deal. So that would not be available by default. Like if you didn't have the Zelcore Plus, you wouldn't be able to get into these 3. But we still have the quick swaps The other thing that you get with Zelcore Plus is, of course, the node monitoring. So you can look at this. Or you also get the portfolio tracker. So you can add your assets
See
here.
how much you made a loss.
Yeah. So, and
how does the when you say like if I hold 5,000 Zel, I get the premium feature for free? Is that how it
yep,
works?
that's it. So for here, you could get Zel, and you can see I've just been testing here, but here's how the news would show up, that kind of a thing. Let's see. If I had 5,000 Zel in any one of my, so this is wallet 1 right here. If I want, I can put it in any one of these.
Do I need to host a Zel node? No, I don't.
No. You don't have to. It's just a stake inside the wallet, and the wallet searches these wallets right here. If there's 5K Zel there, it just unlocks all the features.
Oh.
So it's a way to support the network and the project, because obviously it takes those coins out of circulation, but it gives you a benefit. And if you're going to do a long-term hold anyway, it's a value add, if you ask me, because we are working towards building value and services that people can use, and if the value of the coin goes up, then holding the 5K Zel, it's a great bonus too, because your stake is worth more when if later on you decide, okay, I want to take that out and sell it for a profit. I mean, you can do that, and maybe there will come a time when, God willing, who knows, but it'll be cheaper to pay $4 a month than it will be to stake 5K Zel.
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking, like, what happened if like one of Zel goes to $100? Then are you still gonna keep the 5,000 limit for the Zelcore subscription?
No, that would change. It would change based on the current valuation. Yeah, they've already talked about that. So yeah, it would change. We would still offering it. We're calling it staking as a service. And there's more things that are on the horizon for staking as a service, especially as it comes to our Flux network and the infrastructure that we have available for other projects. So very exciting things coming in the next couple of months, really. So, but anything else?
That's really cool. Maybe just a quick understanding, because like Zel as a project, the Zel network, like this is the Zel, the currency, Zelcore, which is your wallet, and then you have Flux, right, which is kind of your AWS type of infrastructure, except that it's decentralized. I don't know if that's the right way to describe it.
The very basic breakdown: Zel is the cryptocurrency. It is a ZK Snarks. It is a fork of Zcash, but it is using its own heavily modified Equihash algorithm to be ASIC resistant, called Zelhash. So we created that maybe about 2 years ago. And then we also added a deterministic node network. It's 3 tiers of nodes that offer different levels of resources. So there's a very simple node that has 2 CPU cores, and then there's a middle grade node called a super node. That's 4 cores, and then there's a larger BAMF node which has 8 cores. Now the BAMFs are the workhorses of the network, so they can run multiple applications. So we envision something like that, eventually hosting blockchains and then enabling dApps to run. The Flux is an operating system application that runs on the nodes, and it enables people to run Dockerized or containerized applications. So we've looked at Docker Hub, and there's a lot of different things that from Docker Hub could run very easily on Flux. And right now we're building it out so that it can accommodate more complicated applications, those that would require maybe multiple containers or subnets or something like this. But for right now, the way it works is basically a single containerized application running on its own network. And that's something that I think that we're going to see a lot more use of as we seek to support the infrastructure needs of other projects. I'm starting to see how this is taking shape, and it's something that's come together very quickly within the last probably 8 weeks. And Flux version 1.0 was launched in late September. It got an upgrade in October. And then global applications were made available. A global application is one that basically spawns itself across the network, replicating 5 times. So there's that. And then we also have some really cool incentives that we're offering to node operators, whereby they can earn some additional rewards, not just from running a node. They would earn Zel for that, but also to earn rewards from other projects that are running their infrastructure on the Flux network. So does that?
Can you give an example? Like I know you guys did like during the whole we're still going through the COVID thing, but I believe you did some folding at home, Docker, and you had all your nodes running folding at home as well, right?
That was the first launch of it. Yeah. First launch because cool. COVID-19 just came out, so we were trying to find a way that we could contribute to try and help solve the problem. And it's protein folding, where they're just trying random different protein structures and things to find a cure, and folding at home. Yeah, so they were really impressed because we spun up hundreds. It was literally hundreds of them within a few days, and it was by the time we had run our promotion, which was, I believe, for a month, they saw a lot of hashing power because it's all, it's CPU based. I think obviously you would know if you're going to put GPUs on something, you're going to get a heck of a lot more bang for the buck. But given the fact that the network was idle and then all of a sudden switched into high gear, it showed what the thing was possible, what was possible on Flux. And as of late, we're working with another partnership with Cadena, and we added I think we're over 200 Cadena nodes running on the Flux network right now. So that's something that is incentivized too. So we're working on the incentive. The incentive structure is such that there is a set amount of Cadena that will be distributed amongst all of those nodes that are running the Cadena node application on Flux. So the Zel node owners are the ones who would earn that because they were the ones who chose to run it. Eventually, what I would like to see in the future is multiple projects running on the nodes, and then the Zel node operators choosing which projects they want to support. Some, if we have, let's say we put Firo on there and you can run your MasterNodes on Flux. Well, then some people would want to support Firo and earn Firo for doing that, So there's, and
so
they may
so let's
jump
say
around.
If I host a MasterNode on Flux, how much do I have to pay the network? I have to pay in Zel, right? Or how does this whole system work?
That's all being worked out right now. It's a great question. The team is coming up with a system for that, and they're gonna announce that probably. I don't think by December. I think we'll probably announce that in January, because that's going to come together with our Q1 goals, which is going to be for governance. Governance is going to include some sense of staking. So here comes staking as a service. It's going to include some stake of Zel, but it's going to be way more competitive and way more advantageous for projects, because it's not going to be like AWS when, I think it was a month ago, AWS went down mysteriously for half a day. I think Google had a similar problem a week later. It was bizarre. So in those two situations, because of the centralization, or at least for that region, there were problems. With Flux, because it's run both by individuals and at all of these different data centers around the world, if a node goes down, Flux is smart enough to, through its communication with those other nodes, spin up another instance elsewhere. So it's and the way that would work for Cadena is that those nodes are a lot like a Bitcoin node in the sense that you don't need to have somebody staking any amount of coins to run it. Anybody can run the Cadena node, but what they're doing is offering a certain amount of Cadena coins to run it on the network, and therefore those coins are being distributed, and that's all done.
Kind of like a bounty program, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, how do you get a whole you know this as a community leader for a while, right? Like, how do you get people to want to contribute to the network? If you just ask people, would you please spin up a node for me? You know, and they're gonna say, well, wait a minute, how big is your blockchain, and what kind of CPU am I gonna need? And before you know it, you're paying a $30 a month VPS fee for nothing. You know, you're not getting anything out of it, like, except for like you feel good. Maybe some people are like that, and that's fine. I think that's great. I think that's exactly what the community needs. But at the same time, if you want to have a maximum impact, if you want to have a large number of nodes, and in the case of Cadena, I'll use them as an example. They wanted 100 nodes. Well, they got 200. It's just because that's just the way it is. Once you tell people that they could earn crypto, they will do it. So incentive is a big part.
I think it's quite. I think we both believe that infrastructure should be incentivized. I mean, you could go the Bitcoin model where you run it if you need it, but especially in terms of with Flux and stuff, you need like certain high requirements. Always on type of things. So you do need to pay them. They're almost like kind of like server ops in a certain way. Rather than just like spinning up a node and contributing bandwidth and disk space. Yeah.
It's not a Dash node, right? It's not a basic master node. I don't know if does Dash still do mixing, or did they just give that up?
They're still doing it, but they just kind of deprioritize it, and now they are really trying to say that they're not a privacy coin. Their privacy is just as good as Bitcoin, which is kind of ironic, given that. I mean, I understand why they want to do it. They are aiming for mass adoption, and they don't want to have any of the problems of having privacy. But it's kind of sad, right? Because they are an OG of privacy coins. I think one of the first people that kind of enabled CoinJoin on a more massive scale, and to kind of see that abandoned is a bad blow for privacy in general as well. But hey,
But their MasterNodes do help to really speed up the transactions. So you're
so we also have parts of Firo does borrow from the Dash infrastructure, and they've actually done some really cool stuff like chain locks, right? And instant send. Chain locks is like really important for projects like you, or maybe more for us. Well, you guys are still being GPU mined, right? Yeah. So the problem with all this GPU mining is that it's commodity hardware, right? And many people just place it on nice hash, where you can rent and sell hash rate. And I mean, even recently, Grin got 51% attack, and Beam also previously got 51% attack. And this is not any fault of the teams themselves. It's just the nature of proof of work and the nature of having commodity hardware that doesn't have a loyalty per se, because I can attack your coin, destroy your coin, 51% attack it, and I still have a GPU that I can mine other stuff or play games with. Not like ASICs, where if I'm a Bitcoin miner, if I 51% attack Bitcoin, I'm kind of hurting my own investment, right? But the idea of when you're using GPUs, where you're getting a much wider distribution, because it's not just the people with the ASICs, but anyone that can use the existing hardware. But it does come with the risk of 51% attacks, and in Dash and soon to be us, this thing called chain locks makes the MasterNodes add like a secondary security layer, so that it basically prevents 51% attacks by checkpointing each block. and having the nodes kind of do a vote to say like, oh yeah, we saw this block first, we're not going to accept any other conflicting block. So that means the miners still propose the blocks and still validate transactions and insert transactions, but the master nodes then kind of make sure like, oh well, if everyone saw this block first and has confirmed it, I'm not going to, someone suddenly comes up with a longer chain and allow it to override. And that prevents the 51% attack. So that's a pretty neat way of kind of like a hybrid system between like proof of work and masternode, almost like a proof of stake model, but has some nuances that make it kind of different.
Yeah. The Zel nodes work similarly to that in the sense that because we have 3 different tiers, each tier, they all have to, the timing of which node receives a reward is part of that consensus. So so there's a certain order that they have that only the nodes know, kind of a thing, and if somebody tries to 51% attack, they would have to know a certain number of consecutive payouts for each tier of node, and so I think that's really helped to secure the network a bit. There's certainly other things that can be done, but from a standpoint of second layer added security, we were able to accomplish a little bit of added security through that. But mostly like really trying to keep things GPU friendly. Of course when the ASICs start hashing away at your algorithm, that things can change very quickly. But
definitely,
if that were to happen, we would be prepared.
So maybe like maybe now, is there anything else you would like to cover, or maybe you think this is a good time to wrap up?
I think we're good. Yeah, I mean, I think we covered a lot, actually. This is a very informative talk, and I'm so grateful that you were able to take the time. Hopefully you didn't have to wake up too early.
No, it's fine. Okay. It's good practice as well. But where can let's say like our community is interested in downloading the wallet, or maybe getting some Zel even, or where can they find out about this? Maybe you want to shout out your URLs and community links. Yeah,
you can find the Zelcore wallet at zel.network. And there's links there to download the wallet directly. For whatever platform you want, we have 5 different platforms, so Windows, Linux, Mac OS, iOS, Android, and we're also on the Huobi store, so you can get the app there. It's all the nice thing about like I said earlier, the application works both on a desktop and on a mobile device. If you use the same username and password login, then you can have access to the same exact information, same wallets, everything. All accounts are stored locally. There are no central servers. You don't have to register an email address. It is entirely in your custody. That's one thing that we really pride ourselves on. There's no wallet seed phrases or anything like that. We do have a password recovery feature that was just added to the wallet so that you can protect your account and recover if you need to, if you forgot your password for whatever reason. And then beyond that, if you want to learn more about the Flux network and the Zelnode network, certainly stay at the Zel website. We just overhauled the website, so we're very happy about it. Love the way it turned out. We have instructional videos too. If you want to check us out on our YouTube channel, it's Zel Labs. So YouTube/Zel Labs, and then the only other place to get info would be Twitter. We have a Twitter account at Zel_core. So of course we'll put all that information down in the description so you can get to us there.
Sure. And I just wanted to note that we've been speaking with your team, and they've expressed interest to possibly add like Lelantus transaction support within the Firo integration, and hopefully we'll have also a third party wallet that supports our private transactions, and that'll be pretty exciting. So we'll see how that goes, but we're really excited on that. And I guess on my end, of course, currently you can go to zcoin.io, and if you want to go to our new website, is firo.org. which I guess has all the social links, and we'll put it in the description as well. Yeah.
Excellent.
So thanks so much for coming on and so late at night, and it's a
That's
real
okay.
pleasure, and it's always great to talk to other projects, like often too often, like projects are kind of like tribalistic, and they're like, I'm the best, I'm the best, I'm the best. And I think projects like ours show that there can be synergies between projects, and we can be competing, not really like, I mean, I don't think we're like direct competitors, but even if we were, there are ways that we can collaborate together rather than just crapping on everyone's project. I think this is a lot healthier and probably a more mature crypto ecosystem that we should be encouraging. So thanks for this. Yeah.
It's a pleasure, and I couldn't agree more, because and I was just thinking about this, especially with what both of us are building. We can have so much greater impact on the thinking, the just the way people approach crypto by working together and getting the word out there and showing people the possibilities and building synergy. So I think that this is a great opportunity for both of us. So thank you so much, Reuben. It's been great to have you on the core, and I look forward to launching Firo when we have the. Yes. You give us the go ahead, and we'll go ahead and flip the switch. But
we'll
excellent.
Do that.
Yeah. Thanks again.